you everyone for joining today. Let's get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, just please put them in the chat and we'll answer them at the end as time allows. As a reminder, we'll send you a link to the final recording and the presentation with helpful resource links after the session. Today, 108 Degrees Digital Marketing is presenting the email multiplier effect, led by Marianne Pfeiffer. Marianne is a marketing professional passionate about helping her clients reach their goals. She's the founder and principal of 108 Degrees, a woman-owned, women-led agency with over 20 years of outstanding service to small businesses, nonprofits, and educational institutions. She is also a MailChimp Pro partner with over 25 years of experience in email marketing, and the author of Precision Email, 7 Lessons in Engagement Strategy. Today, Marianne leads our session as your marketing strategist, helping answer the digital marketing and brand questions that lead you to success. So without further ado, Marianne, hi.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much. So glad to be here today and to talk to people about the mysterious and important work of integrations. A lot of clients hire us for their email, but the email is only one part of the puzzle. Your integrations are really what gives you the bang for the buck with your email, because email alone, if it's siloed, it's not really taking the data and the knowledge that you have from the rest of your organization and integrating it into your communications. So we're going to talk today about integrations, about what they are, why you want to use them, and how you can use them to boost the ROI of your email. First of all, just to make sure we're all on the same page, I want to define what integrations are so we all understand what we're talking about. These are platforms or tools that allow for seamless data sharing. So if you think about your email system, your ESP having first name, last name, email address, maybe, some basic information that somebody uses when they sign up for your list. Your integrations are things that are going to bring other data from other systems into that email system so that you can do more with it. We also call these systems that unify the disparate channels and systems. So an integration, we'll talk about some different examples. An integration could talk directly to your ESP. It could also be something that there's an integration that talks between your ESP and other channels. All of that means integrations. These are applications that enable you to personalize your campaigns. And if there's one thing that we know for sure, it's that campaigns that are personalized get much better results, better opens, better clicks, better ROI overall. When you have personalization and when you know more about your subscriber, you can add automation based on what you know about them. You can really blow up your email program and do some amazing things with it. Why do you want to utilize it? Well, first of all, opportunity, right? And there is definitely an opportunity cost to not integrating things into your email system. We know that email ROI is about 36 to 1, depending on your industry. So like in retail, consumer retail, sometimes they see it's like 42 to 1, but overall the sort of generally accepted number is like 36 to 1 or better. So the more you're putting into your email, the more you're getting out on the other end. But that also means data. And data is not necessarily in the ESP. It's not necessarily in your MailChimp, in your Klaviyo, in your Pardot program, right? So you need to get that data into your ESP so you can maximize that ROI. How do you do that? Integrations. Integrations take data, centralize it based on your communications plan. You don't need to bring every piece of data that has ever existed into your ESP, only ones that are relevant to the communication plan that you've put together and how you want to leverage email to get better results. And you're going to get these better results through personalization and segmentation, which we've talked about before. Segmentation is where you're slicing and dicing your list to get a really small sort of niche group of subscribers together who all have same interests or similar goals so that you can talk to them very specifically about what's important to them. The more data you have, the more you can leverage in your communication plan and through your email channels. All right. Let's talk about some strategies. There's a lot of strategies with integrations, and it's very subjective to your organization and what you're trying to get to, and whether you're B2B or B2C or a nonprofit. If you're in higher ed, there's a lot of different strategies, right? I'm going to talk about some core things that pretty much everybody can or should have and use. The first one is going to be your CRM. So that's your customer relationship management system. It could be your database. So depending on your industry, this could be something like Salesforce or it could be something like your point of sale system. But basically, it's the database where all of your customer information is kept. All their contact information, their purchase history, products they've been interested in, quotes that you've sent. When you take your CRM and you merge it with your email system and you merge that data in there, you can create and maintain relevant segmentations. Simple things like, are they a lead or an existing customer? Are they a partner? Are they a vendor? Just that very basic information allows you to start to customize your communication plan. Now, that's not information you're necessarily going to have in your ESP directly, because when someone signs up from your list on your website, or maybe they've talked to your sales team and they've been added, we haven't necessarily put that information in the ESP, but it should exist in your CRM. So by marrying the data between those systems and getting even this basic segmentation in there, you can start to customize your communications. We also think about automation and life cycle campaigns. What's a life cycle campaign, right? So life cycle campaigns are anything from like a welcome or an onboarding, or just generally, say, for example, you sell products like candles. Somebody buys a candle, they buy a candle spring scent in the spring. Well, they've probably burned through that by the midsummer, and another scent might be more appropriate. So you can have replenishment campaigns, you can have reminders, you can have all types of automations based on what you know about when that person entered your system, when they purchased something, and what the likely life cycle is for a customer who is similar to that one. Win back campaigns, renewals, all that kind of stuff. All things that you can automate if you marry your CRM and the data that's in that alongside your email. The next sort of like very basic level that we want to think about is your e-commerce system. So your e-commerce system, this is Shopify, this is BigCommerce, this is whatever type of WooCommerce shopping cart you use to sell to people online. So again, there's nothing that inherently says just because somebody visited my website and checked out, if you don't integrate your ESP with that, you can't leverage what your ESP can do from what your e-commerce site knows. Your e-commerce site knows a lot, right? It knows what time they made a purchase, what that purchase was, what they put in their cart, what they abandoned in there. If you have that data and you can leverage that with email, you can do a lot with it. So you can encourage people to check out. That's what we call the abandoned cart automation. Somebody logs into the site, they're shopping around, they get distracted, they leave your site, they don't finish checkout. Boom, within hours, you send them something. Hey, you forgot about this. Are you still interested? Can we help you with that? Maybe you send them a discount code, abandoned cart. You can also work on post-purchase upsell. They bought something, and you know there's another product that goes well with that. Most people who buy X also buy Y. So you can push that in front of them as an automation, if you tell the e-commerce system to tell your ESP, hey, somebody bought this. When they buy this SKU, make sure within 24 or 48 hours, you suggest this SKU to them. These are things that e-commerce can do if it's plugged into your email system. You could also get really personal with segmentation based on things like purchase behavior. So we call it a high CLV, a customer lifetime value. You have customers that you work with who buy from you frequently. And maybe they buy big ticket items. Maybe they buy every year, every 6 months, and they buy really big ticket items. And they stay with you for many years. That's a high lifetime value customer. Maybe they just buy little things, but they buy them every few weeks. Either way, there's value to that customer. They see value to your brand, so you can identify that brand advocate potentially. All right. And you can use your ESP to take that data and target very specific communications. If purchase history equals this, if customer lifetime value equals that, you could give them a score. You could mark them as a brand advocate. When you see certain things happen in the ESP, you can take that data, leverage it into your email communications to build a more targeted plan for those people who really and truly are your most valued customers. This is a fun one, website behavior. We all have websites, right? Is your website connected to your ESP? Hopefully it's at least connected just to collect email addresses for people who land on the site, right? But you can go a lot deeper than that if you want to. You can actually trigger emails based on someone's page visit. Okay. And with the right integrations, and it very much depends. Do you have a WordPress site? Do you have a Squarespace site? Do you have a Drupal site? Right. Depending on the technology you're using, there's different integrations available that you can use with your ESP. This is when someone visits this page. And of course, we have to know who they are, right? They have to be logged in. We have to have their email address or have some way to identify them as having visited that page. But once we have, okay, and they visit that page, you can then send them an automation to offer them something that might be relevant to them. You can also provide personalized emails from their download history or their lead magnet history, right? So if somebody comes to your site and they watch a bunch of your webinars, right, they've had to go through a gated page, you know what gated pages they came through. And if you see that they've downloaded 6 of your brochures or watched 4 of your webinars, okay, that's somebody who's definitely really, really interested. You can take that data through an integration, leverage that, bring it into your ESP, and then send customized communications out with exactly that targeted data, targeted information that you know makes sense to them and that particular segment of your user base. Events and webinars, things like this, right? People sign up, they come to events, and you can leverage email because you know what they're interested in, you know what they've signed up for. Send them the pre-event reminder. Hopefully you got one for this at some point that said, hey, there's a workshop happening. If you didn't, it's probably my fault, but that's okay. You can also send post-event nurture sequences. So think about somebody registers for your event or multiple events, and you take that data from Eventbrite or from whatever system you're using for webinar registration, and you feed that into the ESP. Now you can take that data and say, if people have signed up for these 3 events, let's send them an email series after those events that talks about the products, the services, all the things that they might be interested in. Okay. Event related content. Sometimes you run an event and you have merch. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a white paper, maybe it's a t-shirt, right? Whatever it is, you can certainly promote anything related to that event right through your email system. And you can put people in and remind them months later, oh, remember that webinar you attended? That information is still relevant. Are you still interested in the book that goes with that? And use that for promotion. So again, connecting your event system into your email allows you to leverage that knowledge in order to better focus your events and promote them as well to people that you know are interested. Support tools. So let's think about customer support, somebody who is a customer already, somebody who's dealing with your tech support system. You can use your email. If you have some type of, there are many organizations that have a sales CRM and a customer support CRM. Just because you connected your sales CRM doesn't necessarily mean your customer support CRM is part of that. So, and this also includes things like Zendesk, right? Where you have support tickets that come through. So you can take these CRMs, these help desk tickets, and leverage the information that's happening there. Someone comes to your site, they sign up for help, they have some questions that they go through. You can now take that information, feed it into your ESP, and say, you know what, if this person's asking a lot of questions about particular topic, let's send them automatically some knowledge-based follow-up after their support ticket goes through so that they have more information. You can provide recommendations. This is really helpful, especially if in a lot of B2B businesses, you may not have weekend support. Your support may only be 9 to 5 or some sort of business hours during the week, but you can then leverage your email automations that when somebody puts in a request, that they're not only getting the chat response, but also getting something dropped in their inbox that they can refer to later. After that ticket has been closed, take a survey. Use your ESP to send a survey. This is great for building engagement on your list, by the way, which helps with open rates, which helps with deliverability. But you can use post-event surveys to say, hey, you had a problem with this. How did our team do? Did we answer your questions? What more information could we provide? Email is great for that. People like to hit reply. And also you can grow your list. So there sometimes, especially in situations where maybe like, again, I'll go to a B2B reference because that's what we do a lot of. The person who's asking for support may not be the person who was part of the purchasing decision. So you might not have their email address from the sales process. Okay. But they're the user of your product or service, and they're coming in with a question. Well, these are people who should still be informed. So you can use their information. Again, don't sign them up without asking them, but you ask them, hey, would you like to get product, software, knowledge-based articles, whatever it is that you offer, in your email from us? They'll say yes, because they obviously need it if they're going to your customer support people for help. And now you growing your list with people who are relevant users of your product or service. All right. So we kind of get an idea of some of the things that we can do. How do we start to make this happen within our organization? Every organization is different. You all have different tools. So obviously I can't tell you exactly what your situation is going to be, but let me talk sort of in general about what an action plan would start to look like. First of all, you need to start by reviewing your tech stack. I tell you guys this a lot. Start with looking at the tech you're using. You'd be amazed how many companies I work with who go, gee, I don't know if we use one of those or not. Know the tech stack that's available, not just in your own department, but in all the departments that would have information relevant to what you want to do. Okay, so do you have a customer support knowledge base? Do you have a ticketing system? Does that ticketing system provide email so that you can try to leverage that with your email system? What CRM are you using? What if you're not using a CRM? What if you're using a point of sale? How can I connect that? Understand all these different technologies, all the different departments. Everyone who talks to someone outside your company probably has something to say to them. That all has to be part of your communication plan. What technology are they using so that you can gather the data most easily to bring it into your ESP and develop that communication plan? Think a lot about how can you personalize the data? The one email newsletter to everybody, those days are really gone, right? People expect to receive things in their inbox that are personalized to them. So think about your communication plan. Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to say to them? What do they need to hear? What information do they care about? How can you personalize it? How can you segment it? How can you provide them with the most relevant thing that they're going to be excited to open in the inbox? And understand, once you sort of leverage and gotten that list of all the different tech and understand what you want to say, the next thing you want to look at from the tech stack is, does it plug and play with my ESP? So we work a lot with MailChimp. One of the reasons why we work a lot with it's very ubiquitous. It plugs and plays with just about everything, but not every system does. And so if you're not using an industry standard ESP like a MailChimp or a Klaviyo or a HubSpot that is known for sort of the plug and play with other things, what does your system plug and play with? I don't like to recommend technical software changes unless it's absolutely necessary. But as you do this homework, one of the things we often see are people realizing that they don't have the tech stack they need to have to work on the communications that they need. That might mean switching something out. You might need a different help desk application, for example. Better to find out now in the planning stages than when you actually start building the integration to go, oh, I guess we can't get that. So do your homework first. Now you've got to prioritize your opportunities. So what do I mean by that? Could you say everything to everyone all at once? Yes, you could, but maybe you shouldn't. So think about your communication plan. Think about what you want to say and where the lowest hanging fruit is. Where do I have data that I could use to create a really targeted segment or really good personalization without a whole lot of effort? So start at the low hanging fruit and start to prioritize what's the most important. Is the most important thing trying to talk to leads or maybe service existing customers? Maybe it's both, but within those subsets, where can you prioritize things? Where can you improve what you're already doing? Maybe you're not segmenting a whole lot with your leads, but you're doing okay there. So you don't have to put that one ahead. Maybe segmenting with people who are customers who could be returning customers coming back might be the better opportunity to improve how you're reaching them and what you're getting out of it. Also, how hard is it? How much effort is it going to take? Is it you and the person from the other department, or is it we need to hire in a team? Understand how much effort it's going to take to integrate the different pieces and put that into the planning for your prioritization so that you don't take on more than you can actually get done in a reasonable time. I always tell people, let's start with like a small thing that we can measure success with, because I'd like to get something done so you can see results right away and then determine how much bigger and deeper you want to go. Measurement is huge. It's one of the most important things that we do as an agency for our clients because they are paying us to do this work and they got to justify those budgets to somebody somewhere along the way. So if we can't measure what we're doing to show them success, they're not going to stay with us for very long. So what I really recommend is that look at your before and after for your integration. So say we're talking about that help ticket thing, right? Look at the number of help tickets you get and look at the success afterwards. If you've been sending out knowledge base articles, do questions reduce in that area because we've been sending out a lot more information about this? Measure the before, measure the after, and see how you do. Also, A/B split test. A/B split test your creative, the subject line, the actual information you're putting in the email, A/B split test the times that you're sending it. Do you send it within 6 hours, 2 hours, 24 hours? Split test many different things, one thing at a time, to see what's working so that you understand the results that you're getting and know if what you're doing is working. There's a lot more to learn about this. This is a really high level overview of integrations. We do a lot of integration work for clients. If you're trying to understand how you could do this better and what you should be considering, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm happy to answer questions to get you on the right path so that you can get better email, because we're big believers here that a rising tide lifts all boats. We want everyone to have great email, because great email for everyone means great email for us too. If you'd like to learn more about this, we've got a bunch of resources for you. If you're a beginner, I've got a few guides here you can take a look at. These links will be in the presentation. If you've attended this, you'll be getting a link to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, just reach out to us. We're happy to send you this information so that you can go ahead and grab these links. Some beginner guides, some different tools and platforms to take a look at, because you're not going to do this by yourself in a vacuum. You're going to need some tools. So definitely take a look at some of our resources and start to understand some of the things that you need to consider in order to successfully integrate your email system with your other systems. All right. So on that, what I will say is this recording will be up on our YouTube channel with our other workshops. There's lots of great information on there about email marketing, brand strategy, all types of digital marketing resources. So I encourage you to go there, take a look, and of course, reach out to us with your questions so that we can answer them for you online as well. That's all I have for you today. Lauren, do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so, not this time.
All right, fantastic. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation. I hope you learned a little something and are ready to start implementing your own integrations with your ESP. And if you have any questions, find us at www.108degrees.com or on social media.